Welcome back to Charlie's Mailbox, where I answer actual questions from actual people in my inbox. This week's question came from a teacher who wanted a reminder on how do I close out Google Classroom at the end of the year. Now, like many things that we do only once or twice a year, it can be easy to forget the process, so I'm happy to review it today. I'll also link a document explaining the steps in the description of this video. The steps are to return any unreturned student work, remove students from your classes, archive the classes, and delete any calendars and Google Drive folders associated with the classes. Before I get into those steps, I want to discuss something that can cause panic when doing end-of-year grading. That's the situation where a student has removed themselves from your class before you've had an opportunity to close it out. Let me assure you, you don't need to worry about that because Google Classroom creates folders for student work in each class, and those folders contain the student work even if the student has removed himself from the class. For example, if I go into my drive, I will see a folder called Classroom. Inside that folder, there are folders for each of the classes I've created over the years. If you navigate into any of those folders, you will find a folder for each assignment. And that's where you can find student work, whether or not the student is still in your class. By the way, if you are done with the class and no longer need access to that work, you can certainly clean things up by deleting any of the assignment folders, or even the entire course folder if you don't need the resources anymore. Just don't delete the main classroom folder, as that is the central point for all of your classrooms. Now, moving on to the end of year process. The first step is to go to the classroom dashboard and to click the To Review icon. This will show you all the work that was turned in or assigned, but not yet returned. For each one, you can check the box for all students, then click Return. Another way to do this would be to click on the grade book for the course. Then for each assignment, click the three dots and return all. Note that returning work in classroom means that the student becomes the owner rather than you. However, as long as they don't remove you from the document, you will still have access to it in the folder that I showed earlier in Google Drive. Next, we want to remove students from the course. You do that by clicking the People tab, then clicking the checkbox, and under Actions, Remove. While you could skip this step and simply move on to archiving the course, if you don't remove students, the course will still be accessible to them in their archive, just as it is to you. You can now click back to the classroom dashboard and click the three dots menu for the course and choose Archive. This will bring up a window where you can now choose additional courses you want to archive as well. Clicking Next will move the course into your archive. What does that mean? It means that you now still will have access to the course at the bottom of your dashboard under Archived Classes, where you can click the three dots and make a copy for future semesters. It also means that when you use the Reuse Post feature in a future class, you can pull from classes in your archive. This is how I typically use Classroom. I archive my course from this year, and next year when I go to make assignments, I click Reuse Post. I navigate to the archive course, which will become the default choice the next time, and choose the appropriate assignment to copy into the course. Incidentally, if you know you are completely done with the course and no longer need any access to its resources, you can click the three dots menu in the archive and completely delete it. One more step, which is to delete the calendar that Google Classroom creates for each course. These calendars can really pile up if you don't delete them each semester, so it's a nice housekeeping tip. Now, no one has ever accused me of being a great housekeeper, so when you look at my calendars, you'll notice that in the My Calendar section, I have a number of calendars that came from Google Classroom. In my case, to keep them from cluttering my calendar, I have unchecked them so they don't appear. But I really don't need these calendars anymore, so the better approach is to hover over the calendar and click the X to remove it. As always, I'm happy to help you with any of this. Thanks for watching, and keep those questions coming.